So apparently, every relationship suffers or goes through a dry spell season. I have talked to people who have been married for 40 years, 20 years, 10 years, 2 years, and all of them say, yeah, there's just a season where, sometimes you just, it's a dry spell. I can't explain it. It's there, apparently. My question to you is, how are you rekindling your relationship, whether with your spouse or any relationship you are in? How are you putting that fire back? Uh, we have the same relationship with God. It's a two-way relationship. He gives, He has given already so much, but He longs for our attention. He longs for just for us to sit at His feet and hear the whispers that He has for us, of the promises that are yet to come, and the things that He needs to reveal to us. He's like, relationship with God is like, I think, your trusted attorney, or He wants, like, you're a princess. Let's put it like this. Like, this is just coming out now. Like, so you're a princess, and your father has left you, the king has left you so much, but you are not aware. So you only thought that whatever you've seen in the kingdom, that belongs to you. But now this attorney, the notary guy, sits with you and starts telling you, okay, this and this, your father had this, and all this are for you. And I think that sometimes is how God also reveals things to us. The rest are just like common knowledge, because we are, children of God. But there's some deep truths that require us to be seated at His feet, and I mean seated in His presence quietly, listening to the truths and the promises that He has for us. And that's the relationship. Sometimes we have dry spells. I have that even with in my spiritual walk. And not just because of the experiences I went through of grief, that is even before that. There are moments when it's time for worship, and even before the song sings, and even before you come into prayer, you're already praying, you're already, just in worship, full mode. Like, you don't need any song motivation to kind of bring you and lead you to worship. You're already in the inner circle. And sometimes you come, you're 10 songs in, you're 10 praise songs in, you've danced a bit, and you're still like, oh, thank you, God, for today. I just want to thank you, God, for today. Thank you, God, for a beautiful day. You get the picture. Yeah, that's a dry spell that I have experienced. You still pray, but it's the 1, 2, 3 prayers. It's not the one that you just go deep, and you're in the, I call it level 7. The level 1 is when I wake up, throw my blanket, or pray on my bike to work. But how are you rekindling your relationship? Let me not get out of hand here. How are you rekindling your relationship, whether at home with your spouse or with God? Because it's true, there's a dry spell. The seasons come, and we allow other things to come into our relationship, like in a marital scenario. Like for me, what allows um, um, ah, what allows, like, the commitment to kind of fade, not really fade, but to the spark, Marie Kondo's spark, not to really be there, is when one partner kind of just sees faults in the other one. You always do that. You always do that. When you cook, you always do that. Instead of bringing some positive aspects in it, we always just try to find fault. And the other one is also when we don't speak up. Like, there's no, so there's this thing I had or read, that unspoken expectations um, lead to unmet expectations. So you don't speak of them, especially us who come from a culture where you're not supposed to speak and bring things to the table. So they're not met, you know. If you want things done in the house the way you appreciate them, you don't speak them, and then you have resentment. You know, you have a resentment because you don't speak of those things. Um, so not speaking, seeking faulty things. But truth is, God is always waiting for us. Because in a relationship, like our physical relationship, we always have to, you know, pursue each other, seek after each other. But the truth is, God is always a constant one. He's always waiting on us to come back. You know, he will pursue us, but he wants us to make that faith decision to come back, like the prodigal son. Because in Luke, we see 15:20, you know, just when the son was quite not like far distance, the father saw him and ran towards him and embraced him. That means that the father was always watching and waiting for the son to get back, you know. Yeah, so my encouragement is for today, let's find things that will rekindle our relationships, whether it's your marital relationship that needs rekindling, whether it's your walk with Christ that needs rekindling. Yeah, because God longs for our return. Find ways that are both practical to do this. You know, whether it's just cultivating a habit, like, you know what, I'll read one memory verse today. I'll read another one today, and you know what? Instead of just reading, I'll spend 2 minutes to just sit in silence to listen if God will say something. You might not know how he's gonna say it. You might sit there and sleep. You might sit there and start thinking of snacks. But if you keep on practicing that, you will realize that, yeah, this is, you know, it's a habit. It's a habit that you have to create and make the environment conducive for him to also speak. um, yeah, an example is, and that's where the story of Martha and Mary comes in, because sometimes we just like to do, but we also call to, you know, sit and listen and soak in, because my love language is to give gifts. um, yeah, you know, give gifts and acts of service. So if I love you, you will know, because I'll do things for you. I'll clean your house for you. I'll cook you meals. But you see, my husband's love language is quality time. So when he wants me to sit in the balcony and sip on tea, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh, that needs to be clean, that needs to be done, that, because it gives me satisfaction. But I also know that I've done it for the people that I love. But for him, it's like, leave those things. Today, you don't need to do that. Just come, let's go for a walk. And I'm like, I've been walking all my life. I walk to school and all that, you know. But you know, those are the practical ways I have to find to kind of, you know, rekindle that commitment in my relationship, but also in God, because he likes quality time. God does not want me doing things in kingdom work without coming back to the source to feed on, you know, yeah, to kind of soak in his, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, you know. You have to come back always and get inspiration, get motivation from him. So yeah, an encouragement to you, lovebirds. How are you rekindling your commitment? Yeah, both spiritual and physical. God bless you. Bye bye.